Okay.
All right, so should we start? Should we have some fun?
Hi.
Hey, Fred, how's it going?
Good, Jeremy. Yourself?
I'm well. Thanks very much.
All right, so we're a little bit past a month when you took over as chairman of ITA.
We are. It's hard to believe.
How's it going?
So far, so good. You know, I love ITA, as you know, and I'm super honored to be able to have the opportunity to keep working with Julia and the rest of the gang and yourself on the board. And it's been a super fun month to get to know the operations of the ITA a little bit better. Having been on the board before and as vice chair before, I had an interesting perspective on how the actual organization operated. And having been a member for 13 years, I knew and know the business of the business, but it's nice to see it from the other side a little bit more at this point and figure out how I can dig in and help out.
So you're fixing all the problems that I created.
Well, I don't know that all the problems you created.
Like
There's so many problems that you created, Fred, that I don't know that there is a single person on this earth that can ever undo all those.
Exactly.
But we'll, you know, with
with
Julia as my guide, we're finding those, and we'll try to fix them.
So the being chairman offers you exposure to a bunch of companies
Yes.
that you otherwise wouldn't get exposure to. Anything surprise you about the companies you're seeing, the broader scope of the industry? I know you were always involved in the industry, but I think just that platform changes the way you look at things.
Yeah, it does. So after the first month of talking with a handful of companies that I don't normally interact with just because of the vertical that I've traditionally played in within the technology space, what's been, I guess, overly apparent is just how vibrant and how exciting times are right now for the technology industry across the board. Whether you're a giant global megacorp or you are a 20-person, you know, pre-Series A or at Series A, still sort of startup company, there is a lot of energy and a lot of enthusiasm and excitement within the industry broadly. It's been fun to sort of feed off of that excitement a little bit as well.
Any cool companies specifically that you've talked to in the last month that you found really interesting?
Yeah, there's a handful. One that just jumps to mind immediately that is a brand new member actually over the course of the last month is a firm called Red Shelf, which is a tech-enabled ed tech software company here in town that I think has been, not intentionally, but flying under the radar screen a bit for the past several years.
And I don't know.
They've quickly sort of grown to be the largest player in their market, and their platform is now in over half of the universities in America. A super cool, amazing success story.
Really?
And new member of the ITA. Yeah.
Based in Chicago, or are they?
Based in Chicago. Yeah.
How do I not know that? That's strange.
Yeah.
So what do you want to do as chairman?
I think that my goal as chairman, quite frankly, is to help to further the existing cause and further the existing mission. When we think about ITA, right, there's three core pillars of the programming that ITA offers as it relates to access, talent, and visibility. And my goal in working with Julia and the rest of the board and the whole team is to help drive those initiatives even more. Even more intensely into the areas that we're already entrenched, into the companies that we're already entrenched with, while at the same time opening up new doors and introducing new programs to encourage even more member and prospective member companies to join and get that much more involved.
Do you think it's a good time to do that? I mean,
do.
Where do you think the industry is right now?
I do. I mean, I think that the industry today is in a very, I think, exciting position. I mean, you remember this when we first met way back in the early 2000s. The technology ecosystem in Chicago looked nothing like it does today.
No.
And you know, over the past 15 years, it has grown a ton, and we've had 2 or 3 rebirths as a sector, if you will, as a technology sector within the Chicago and Chicagoland and overarching Illinois landscape. And I still feel like, even though there's been a huge amount of growth, and we've seen amazing venture capital returns over the course of those last few years, and we've seen, you know, publicly traded companies be birthed out of our ecosystem. I think we're still just getting started. I kind of look at Chicago and I think things are going in the right direction, and we're kind of in the 3rd inning of a 9-inning game. And so to me, that's really, really exciting. I'm super excited to see the next few innings play out.
Yeah, I always use the analogy we're in adolescence, but
Adolescence. Yeah,
30 is the same sort of goal.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, cool, great. What about your own company? What's going on?
Sure. So I am happily running a business called Imagineer Technology Group. We're a software and services company that caters to the asset management industry. So for anyone in the room that doesn't know what that means exactly, we service traditional asset managers and alternative asset managers, help them with their fund marketing and investor services and client reporting initiatives on one hand. On the other hand of our business, we work with large institutional investors, so endowments, pension funds, very, very large families and things like that, and we help them to manage their research and due diligence efforts into the fund managers that they're seeking to allocate capital to. And Imagineer is a cool business. It's been around now for actually 21 years. And I used to be really good friends with the founder of the business. And now I'm great friends with the founder of the business. I actually came to Imagineer through a merger. So one of the companies I started here in Chicago called Synap, we merged it with Imagineer just over 14 months ago now.
Right.
And I've continued to build the business and having a great time.
And that's a common thing in Chicago, by the mergers and sort of companies coming together to make bigger, better companies.
For sure.
And I think in a way that's a little more productive than probably you see on the coast, where the merger is sort of a all-in-consuming of a company, of a startup. How has the community, or how has ITA, if at all, helped you to manage that process?
Absolutely. Well, for me, I've had the good fortune of being able to work with ITA through four different companies that I've either started or been part of the management team of here in Chicago. And I've been able to sort of, quite frankly, leverage the resources ITA makes available at each stage of the game. So the first company that I started here in Chicago, or co-founded in Chicago back in 2003, was the first business that I had the opportunity to grow from, honestly, me in a closet to well over 100 people. I got involved with ITA when we were about 30 people, actually. So still very much, we had established a market, we knew what we were doing, but we were struggling with a couple of big issues at the organization. One was, as a first-time founder in Chicago, I'd moved here from Denver. I didn't have a big network of other CEOs and CTOs and C-suite and even VP level executives in Chicagoland. I was trying to build that as fast as I could. And so I met you, and I met Terry, and I met the rest of the gang. And for me, that was a great opportunity personally. To gain access to the network that
you sure about that?
Yeah, well, I think so. I mean, we'll find out, I guess, in the end.
Well, it has been 15 years, so I guess we haven't screwed you over yet.
Yeah, exactly. But it also helped me then to introduce ITA to my other teammates as well. So it was a big benefit for us on the access side for that business as we grew from 30 to well over 100. And then we also took advantage of ITA's initiatives around talent development, and always have. In fact, with a couple of the companies I've been involved with here in Chicago, we were early participants in the Tech Challenge.
That's
and
right.
Early participants in some other initiatives of ITA, including Tech Forward and others that are even more recent. And we've always found, through every company I've been involved with, an open door and a friendly shoulder and a whole group of people who are willing, ready, and able to help us with whatever problems we're dealing with at the time.
It's funny you mentioned Tech Challenge, because it's sort of back to where we were in our roots. You can remember us going down to the U of I and with basically a cardboard table, a card table, and sort of hoping to grab resumes from engineering students and just finding some way to get them connected to companies. This year now we were so successful that we can't even, the companies, the talent we're finding is being recruited by the best companies in the world.
Exactly.
As part of us. And even this year now we're taking a new direction. I think we're doing women, aren't we?
Yeah,
full-time, just a women-only Tech Challenge.
Yeah, which I think is exciting. And success breeds success, right? And so I do remember one of the very first talent fairs we did down at U of I. Myself and my co-founding CTO of the first firm that we did here in Chicago.
Oh, yeah, Andy, right?
Yeah, Andy Pruitt. Yeah, we went down there and we had our little booth and we were hanging out and throwing business cards around and resumes and that over time became a whole lot more. It's exciting to see the programs continue to grow.
Yeah, it was funny because none of them in Illinois knew any of the Chicago tech companies. We went down the first time I think we went down there and we said Groupon was making big waves, early waves, and we're like, does anyone know Groupon? And they're like, no.
What's that?
What's that? And we're like, you know Grubhub or Trustwave or anybody? They're like, no, never heard any of them.
Yeah.
We know Google and Facebook.
Right.
We're like,
and Yahoo at the time.
Yahoo at the time. Sorry, I'm going way back.
No, it's okay.
Try not to be that old, Jeremy.
We can't help it, Fred.
So we have a change in mayor coming. Right?
We do.
New mayor. And that's interesting for our tech industry because Rom was such he's my best friend, Rom, was such an advocate for the tech industry.
Yeah.
And I don't think that the new mayor, Lori Lightfoot, will be disparaging of the tech industry, but I think she's probably not going to be as prominent an advocate
because there's other bigger part of the platform.
There's bigger platforms for her to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
What does it mean what does it mean for us? What do we as the industry need to start doing?
Well, I think it gives us, quite frankly, as an industry, an opportunity to help her out, right? And that is where I think ITA and our member companies can play a bigger role in voicing our needs, our wants, our concerns, our challenges, our desires, the things that we really need to see happen and continue to happen in Chicago and Illinois in general to help us to continue to retain and attract talent so we can keep building companies, both from scratch as well as by importing companies into Chicagoland and Illinois in general as well. So I think I view this as a really unique opportunity for the whole community and the leadership in the community to stand up and really help the city to continue to move forward in the right direction.
Yeah, you and I share that view, and I think that back to this adolescence or third inning, we're at that point now where the industry has to step up as a group as opposed to fall behind somebody else. We are the ones who have to lead the train now and get everyone else behind us. And so I think this transition with the mayor, the governor doing his thing, although he's obviously he personally has been a big supporter for a long time.
Exactly.
I think it's time for us to step up in a meaningful way. And I know that ITA is making inroads
for sure
to do that around advocacy and other things.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting too, given where we are in the life cycle of the technology ecosystem. There are enough mature companies in Chicago now that whether they're publicly traded or not, right? We have men and women who have been building businesses in Chicago for the last 20 years, right, since the dot-com crash, that have grown into substantial organizations with a national and global footprint. And we've had enough successes here now that there's a solid foundation of men and women who can help to sort of come together and bring these initiatives to the forefront. And I think we're seeing it not just through ITA, but through other organizations that ITA is happy to work with and has been successful in working with so far. So it's really exciting to see the future.
Yeah, there's a natural change there. I mean, people always talk about sometimes in Chicago, people look at different organizations and act as if they're competitive. In my mind, they sort of all fit into a value chain out there. At 1871's got the really early startups, tend to have a tech nexus, which is not a public entity, but my company obviously, or one of myself and Terry's company, is has a little more mature startups, and obviously ITA is the larger companies, and there's lots of organizations around it that are all doing their unique things. We just need to recognize that it's not a zero-sum game, right?
Right, and this is not a competitive game either, and that's where you look at all these associations and groups that are all working toward the same goal and the same end game. And I think, in as much as we keep that in mind, there's a way for everyone in the ecosystem to benefit and to drive the entire ecosystem forward. In fact, it's interesting when you look at a lot of these associations and organizations that are out there. Many of us are involved with several of them, right? And so I think that also speaks volumes about the cohesive and collaborative nature of Chicago technology. We're all friends, and we've been hanging out together for decades now, and so it's only natural that we'd continue to support each other and our companies and the ecosystem across all the different areas that we seek to be involved in outside of our day jobs.
Well, as much as we love each other, and we've got to find ways to deepen that pool, though, and get more people involved. And it's clear to me that there's still lots of opportunity for lots of people to get involved that haven't been today.
That's exactly right. Yeah, no, I totally agree.
Cool.
So I think over the next 5 years, we see ITA go from 450 member companies to 900. I think we can double the size of the group. Again, because there's that much energy, that much excitement, that much activity happening in Chicago and Chicagoland, and even as we keep stretching our legs, if you will, and connect with and keep building relationships with the rest of Illinois.
Good. Well, we've come a long way from when Terry and I used to throw keg parties on a roof just to get people in the same room. Yes, I think we're certainly come a long way, and excited to see what's happening. And I'm thrilled for you to be chairman as the next person and to take it to the next level.
Well, thanks. It's an honor and a privilege, and I'm excited about it too.
Good.
Yeah,
good luck. I'm around anyways if you need help.
Exactly. I know where to find you.
Or blame me.
Well, of course I'll blame you, but I also know
That's
where to
fine.
find you.
Everyone else does.
Perfect.
Cool.